open VS Code. Make sure you still have your project open. Then go to this tab that says source control. Now you should see a button that says initialize repository. If you don't see this button, click Ctrl+Shift+P on your keyboard and you can search for initialize repository up here. But you should see it right here. This is how we're going to set up our GitHub repository. So click on this button. Now you should see files, and next to those files there should be a U. Now this U just stands for untracked, meaning that the files are new or changed but have not yet been added to the repository. Now this makes sense because we haven't yet created a repository, so none of these files should be added to a repository. Now you should see a plus icon next to them, so click this plus icon. Now what this does is it stages the files. Now when a file is staged, it's been selected to be added to the repository, but it has not yet been added. So what we need to do is click on this plus icon next to this changes folder to stage all changes. Now we just need to add a comment. The comment is compulsory when updating the repository. So in this case, we're just initializing the repository, so our comment will be initialize repository. But let's say you go to your header file. So you go to your header file here, you make some changes, and then go back to your source control. In that instance, your comment will be update header file or something along those lines. But in this case, we're just initializing a repository. What you need to do next is click commit. Now our changes have been committed, but now the last step we need to do is publish them to our branch in our repository. So click this publish branch button. Now you should get this alert that says the extension GitHub wants to sign in using GitHub. So click allow. And this should take you to your accounts page. Now in this case I've got two accounts. I'm just going to use this day one programmer account that I've created. You should also use the account that you've created. Now click authorize Visual Studio Code. Enter your password and then click confirm. Now you should get this alert. What you need to do is click open link. And this should take you back to VS Code. Now you should get two options up here. Publish to GitHub private repository or publish to GitHub public repository. Now in future projects we'll be doing a private repository, but in this case we'll just use a public repository because it's going to be the most simple to set up with our version control in our cPanel. So click publish to GitHub public repository. Now you should see it loading in. Now you should get this pop-up that says open in GitHub. So we're going to click this pop-up. And now here's our repository fully uploaded. Now what we need to do is enable Git version control in cPanel. So what this will do is every time we push updates to our repository here, they'll automatically be sent to our uploaded website. Then all we need to do after that is take the changes from our repository and deploy them to our website. So in your cPanel, click Git version control. Now there shouldn't be any repositories open right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to create one. Now there's a create button right here, or there's a nice big blue button right here. So click any button. Now go back to your GitHub. Make sure that you're in your project repository and then click this green button that says code. Now just copy this URL. Make sure it starts with HTTPS. Then go back to your cPanel and paste the URL here. And then just click on this input field and it should automatically fill in. Now all you need to do is create. And you should see that we have our repository created here. Now if we click manage, You see that we have basic information right here. But what we're going to do is when we're deploying, you'll come to this tab that says pull or deploy, and you'll click update from remote. Now let's go back to our live website. You'll see that we have our images, but the images are not loading in fully. So let's go back to VS Code. Let's look for our components. And what we want to do is, for all our images, just remove the folder and just leave this slash and in your image file. Now let's go to the rest of the components. So that's our personal component. Now in our header we have this video, so just remove all of that and just leave the file name slash and in the file name, which is animation.mp4. And then we have more images in our projects container, and once again remove everything and just leave the slash and the file name. Now the reason we're doing this is that once we deploy our application to cPanel, the directories change, which means that the path to our images is also changing, which causes problems when we try to load in our images. Okay, we'll just do these for now. The last one is in the My Image component. Now go back to your version control. We need to stage these changes. Then just add a comment. We'll say updated image paths. Now commit the changes. And lastly, sync change. And you just need to click OK. Now go back to Chrome, go to your cPanel, and in this Git version control, under pull or deploy, click update from remote. And you'll see that the system successfully updated the React portfolio repository. And now you also see that this deploy hit commit button does not work, and you'll see the message: the system cannot deploy. For deployment, ensure that your repository meets the following requirements: a valid .cpanel.yaml file exists, and no uncommitted changes exist on the checkout branch. Okay, now what we're going to do is go back to VS Code, and we need to create a .cpanel.yaml file. Now make sure that you're in your project directory, so don't go into any folders. So click right here, new file, .cpanel.yaml. Now just copy this, dash dash dash. Now these three dashes are compulsory for your .yaml files. Then add this line, deployment, and then tap space twice, once, twice, and then tasks. So essentially what we're doing here is, in our cPanel, it's going to open this file to initiate the deployment, and it needs to complete these tasks. Now two spaces once more. Now it's important to take into consideration that in your .yaml files you need to be incredibly specific with your spaces. So we'll go back to this task on the new line and 2 spaces for the key. So this task is a key. And then under tasks, we create a list of tasks that need to be completed. For the list, we need 4 spaces or 4 indentations. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from here, we can start writing our commands. So we're going to be in our home directory for our cPanel, and then we need to add our username right here. So go back to your cPanel or to your hosting and your username or your cPanel login. This is what we need. So copy this, then go back to VS Code, and after this home, add your username. And then in this public.html folder is where all our website files will go. Now basically what this command is doing is it's going to remove all files in this deploy path folder or this deploy path. And now we've just defined our deploy path up here. So the deploy path is this directory. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove all the files there and then replace them. Then we replace those files with all the files in our dist directory. Now remember, our dist is our build files. So in your case it could be called build, but in my case it would be called dist. And then the star means select all. So when you see the star, we're selecting all files. So in this case, we remove all files from the deploy path directory, and then we copy all files from our dist directory, and in the space after the copy command we leave a space, and then we put this directory, which means the files will be pasted in our deploy path. So let's explain that. We've defined our deploy path here. Then we need to remove all the files that are in that path so that we can make space for our new files. And once we've removed all those files, we copy our new files out of our build directory or our dist directory, and we're going to paste those new files in the deploy path directory. So that's simple enough. Now what we need to do is go back to your terminal. So click Control and then backspace or backtick. The backtick is the symbol next to your 1 on your keyboard. Now you can press CLS to clear your terminal, and then run the build command using npm run build. Now click enter. After this build command finishes, you'll see a new folder that's been created. But stay in the terminal for now and look. So on my computer it says 75 modules transformed. Now right under this you'll see the directories. So we have our dist/index.html. Now we need to focus on this dist. So you see dist.assets or dist/index.html, dist/assets, dist/assets. Now whatever the name of this folder is the folder that will appear up here. So you'll see if I come to this dist folder, we have our assets, and right here you'll see we have our files and our index.html file. So this is the build folder that's been created for me. right here. Here's a new build folder. Open your .cpanel, .yaml file or .yaml file and make sure that this directory in our copy command, which is this here, this folder needs to match this folder in your terminal, this .index.html, and it needs to match your build folder. Now once all three of those parts match, now go back to your source control. You'll see we have changes here to our .cpanel.yaml file. This is the one that we've just created. So click stage all changes, and once our changes have been staged, add a comment. So we'll add a simple comment. We updated our .yaml file. Now click commit. Now the files have been committed. Now we need to sync them to our main branch. So click sync changes. Now this prompt will pop up. It says this action will pull and push commits from and to origin/main. Click OK. And you'll see that it's finished now. Now go back to your GitHub first and reload this page. Now you should see next to this .cpanel.yaml file, it says it's been updated now. Now go back to your cpanel version control. Back in our Git version control tab in our cpanel, make sure that you see this repository right here and then click manage. Now go to the pull or deploy tab and click update from remote. Now you should see the system successfully updated the React portfolio repository. You'll see that this deploy hit commit button still doesn't pop out for us. So go back to VS Code and open your git ignore file, which is this one right here. And you'll see that we're ignoring our build directory. So this is our build directory, and in our .git ignore file we're ignoring it. So we need to remove this directory. So when we update our repository, this folder is being ignored. So we need to remove it. Now it won't be getting ignored anymore. If you're still getting errors, we need to come back to VS Code and edit this .yaml file. That's all we're going to do. Change the capital R to a lowercase r and then add a full stop instead of the star. Now stage the changes and add this comment, updated.yaml file. Now go back to Chrome, open your file manager, go to public_html. Now these files all need to be uploaded into this directory. So go back to your version control, click update from remote. It should be a success. Now click deploy hit commit. Now you should see it's completed. Now go back to your file manager and refresh. After you refresh, go back to your public_html file. Now you should see that we have all our files uploaded into this directory. Now the important file here is the index.html file, because this is the entry point for our browser. Now go back to your website, refresh the page, and you should see that our images load in this time. Now we just need to go back and fix this last one. Now you should see we have a smooth process for adding updates to our website. So we just need to go to our projects container, and in this last image, remove this public directory and just leave the slash, leave the // and then arrow. Now we need to build our project again before we upload the changes. So run this command npm run build and wait for your project to finish building. Now let's go to our source control. We have all our changes here. Stage all these changes. Now just commit this change. We added a comment, updated project container.jsx. Then lastly, you just need to sync the and once that's finished, open Chrome, go to your version control, update from remote, then deploy head commit. And that should be everything. So we just need to go back to our website. We have this image that's not loaded in yet, so refresh the page. And if you scroll all the way back down, we should see our image has been loaded in. And that's all the basics for building a website and implementing continuous delivery and continuous integration. Our login page is working. And our blogs are being loaded in. And when we click on the blog show. So all our functions have been loaded in and our website is fully working. All that's left to do is to add your own customization to this website. I recommend taking at least a week or so before continuing to the next tutorials. Just take time, add colors, add some styling to your website, and make sure that the website is the exact way that you would like it to be. Don't use this as your full project. Make sure that this is just a skeleton for you and you build on top of this skeleton. If you are trying to improve your coding skills and learn how to build apps on your own, check out dayoneprogrammer.com for learning web development and mobile development. Get all the YouTube episodes in advance, plus some exclusive projects. You'll also get all the learning resources for building the mobile versions of all the apps. The first 5,000 people to use the link below this video to subscribe to dayoneprogrammer.com will get 50% off their subscription for life.